Paul Farbrace, thanks for talking to us. It's a day that started where all three results were possible, but how do you assess the result in the end?
I think it's been another brilliant game of four-day cricket, and I feel like I'm stood here from just after the Worcester game a couple of weeks ago, where fair play to Derbyshire in this game. They kept going until they were 8 down. I thought Louis Deploy played brilliantly. It was an unbelievable innings from him, and I just think we're just showing that brilliant resilience. We're staying right in games, we're giving ourselves a chance to win games, and I keep saying to the lads, we keep going into day 4 of four-day cricket with a great chance to win, and if we keep doing that, we keep giving ourselves that chance, we are going to get over the line and win games. You know, and we've got a dressing room full of players who have only won one game in Championship cricket a year for 3 years. So to win the first game of the season against Durham was great, but we now need to get over the line in some of these tight games for them to be convinced that they can win tight games. You know, and I guess, you know, you over the course of the 4 days, you look, and we said it this morning before play started, we should have been looking to get closer to 500 than 400. You know, when you're 150 for none and two blokes at the top of the order play as well as they did in Clark and Haynes, you know, we would want one of them to go on at 150, 160, and rather than scrubbing to 400, you probably scrubbed into 500, and then you're putting Derbyshire under more pressure in the first innings. It takes pressure off when you start the third innings of the game, our second innings, and again that's an area that we've got to get better at, because we were 40 for 4, and then the two young kids played brilliantly for a 100 partnership in Dan Ibrahim and James Coles. But again, in many ways, it's a great learner, because you learn more about them in those situations than you do if they go in and it's 200 for 3 or 4. So you learn more 40 for 4 about them as characters. They learn more about themselves. And Colesy went on to play in innings that we all know that he's more than capable of. You know, I think he's one of the most exciting young talents I've seen in the game for quite some time. I love his calmness at the crease, but I think Dan Ibrahim could be just as good, and he hasn't got the runs yet to show that and to back that up. But I think Dan is a high quality cricketer, and you know, I love the way he plays the game. I just want to see him score a few more runs as well. So you know, that's the great thing about these last couple of games with having 2 overseas bowlers. It's put a bit of pressure on our young batters, and I think by and large they've stood up and showed they've got a lot of skill. So you know, there's so many good things that come out of it. At the same time, there's a lot of things over the 4 days that we know we can do better. You know, we've got to take our chances when they come. We've got to be better in the field rather than waiting to the last hour and then absolutely being brilliant in the last hour, because I thought there was a period where we dropped off, our intensity wasn't as good. But if you're going to be the team that we want to be and compete to be in the top division and stay there, then we've got to be better over the course of the 4 days and not just dip in and out when we're under pressure. So that's an area for us to keep working at. But the players, the great thing about this group of players, they're very honest, they work really hard, they don't make excuses, and they're one at the top, they're disappointed. You know, Jack Carson's massively disappointed with his day's work today. You know, he's seen their off spinner pick up wickets in the game, and second innings he's none for 80 odd, and that was a chance for him to really show his class and quality. But you know, that's the game. You know, it doesn't always go how you want it to, and we could go to Headingley next week and he get 5 and win us the game. That's the nature of the game of cricket, and what he's got to do is stay balanced and not get too down when things go against him, and not get too excited when things go well for him. So you know, he's contributed with the bat as he does all the time. He's brilliant in the field for us. He tries so hard in the field, but he knows he's had a disappointing day today. But as I say, that's the nature of the game. But you know, we'll pick him for next week's game because we know he's a quality cricketer.
And the declaration was a major talking point today. A lot of people in the press, and they debated whether maybe we'd gone on for too long. Give us some insight into how you made that decision. Was there a set number you had at the start of the day, or is it something as the game evolves? How do you and Tom also go about that decision?
Well, I think Tom and I, we spoke about it yesterday at the close of play, and we talked about if we're fortunate enough to still be batting after an hour tomorrow, how do we look to take the game forward? And we said to the players this morning that we'll bat normally for the first hour, and if Finn, Hudson Prentice and James Coles are still at the crease in an hour's time, then we'll re-evaluate. And then we lost 2 quick wickets. Finn got out 55 minutes into the morning, and then Nathan got out quite quickly afterwards. So you're then looking at a young man in Colesy. Although he's got 100, he's a young player with not a lot of experience. He's got to try and then shepherd us through. So we took a bit of pressure off and said just keep batting. And then we got through to lunchtime and said, right, we'll have 8 to 10 overs after lunch. Let's try and get 350 in front and put them in. And the great thing is that we play on such good pitches here, And you know, the ground staff do a brilliant job for us. They really do. I mean, you know, we keep playing on pitches like that, then you know our batters and our bowlers are only going to get better, and the supporters get to watch great games of cricket. So you know, with a slightly shorter boundary, fast outfield, good pitch. You know, there wasn't a lot of wear in the pitch, so that's why we felt that we had to, you know, set a total that would keep Derbyshire interested and try and keep them in the game. But ideally, we'd liked another 10 overs to bowl. But if we'd had another 10 overs, we might have been on the wrong end of it. So, you know, it's not an easy decision. You know, and Tom's new to captaincy, so you know he's learning about the capabilities of the team as well. But like, there was a member challenged me at lunchtime and said we should have declared at lunchtime, and I said, yeah, I was inclined to go with him because I think he was probably right, but at the same time I just felt we needed a few more to give ourselves a chance of keeping catches in for longer, and in the end it turned out to be, you know, I think Tom got the declaration absolutely spot on, and fair play to him for, you know, calling it when he did.
And you mentioned James Cole's century. Obviously we have to talk about that 180. It's his career best score, but not just the way he went about the innings, but the timing of it, coming in, I think it was 1 for 2. Yeah. Does that make it even more impressive for you?
It does. It shows, you know, one of the things I love about James Cole's is that his calmness under pressure, you know, is outstanding, and that's the difference between being a good player and an outstanding player. You know, he regardless of the situation he goes in, he plays his game, he plays his way. You know, he's got a very good defensive technique which he trusts, and he knows that if the ball's bowled in certain areas he can score runs. And you're absolutely right, to go in at, you know, 1 for 2 and then with 40 for 4, and Dan Ibrahim comes in and joins him, so you've got, you know, an 18 and a 19-year-old together in the middle. You know, we've been having, you know, Pajot and Smith, and then there we are with, you know, Dan and Colsey, and no disrespect to them, they're two young players finding their way, but I thought their partnership was absolutely fantastic. I really enjoyed the way they played. I really enjoyed the way they scrapped, but then when they got bad balls, they put them away. And unfortunately, Dan got out, but the partnership of over 100 was excellent. And Colsey just kept playing. You know, he just gets better and better. And I think we're all excited by, you know, his potential, but the fact is that's, I think, second under of the year. He's got 2 70s, and it's exciting to watch a young player play as well as he has done. So, but you know, I think he'd be the first to say if we keep playing on excellent cricket pitches, it gives him a chance of, you know, batting, learning how to bat, learning how to construct an innings, and bat for long periods as well, which is what he does. You know, he's not someone who just goes in and gets a quick 30 and 40, looks good on the eye and gets out. He knows now how to get on and get 100, and then to go on and get 180, I thought was an outstanding innings from a very, very talented young player.
And then the 5 games to go in the county championship. Now we are in that second place. Is there any danger of you maybe changing your approach now that we're in that position and there's 5 games to go? Does it change the atmosphere around the place, or is it a case of just doing what you're doing already?
No, keep doing what we're doing. You know, I'm really looking forward to going to Headingley next week because, you know, they're a big club. There's a lot of expectation on them. You know, they'll be looking at us and thinking, you know, that they want to beat us. They feel they'll probably owe us one for the game here at Hove where they didn't get over the line because of the rain. But for 2 days, we were the better team in that game, and they bowled really well. The experienced bowling attack bowled really well in our second innings, the third innings of the game. They got themselves back into it, and it was a really exciting third day. And then unfortunately, the rain spoiled the game. But again, it'll be another great test for our team to go there, and we will be going with the intent to try and win the game. And we've got 5 games to go. If we can win 3 of those games, we give ourselves a great chance of being promoted. So, you know, nothing changes. We're still trying to get promoted. We've not stopped talking about that, and we're trying to win games. That the frustration is that it's another draw, but we're showing great resilience, we're showing great skill, and under pressure we know that we've got players who stand up and are being counted for. And that's, you know, that's where, having had Pudge and Steve Smith, to now have that middle order of Carter, Ibrahim and Coles at 21, 18 and 19, and still be competing to win games of cricket and still be posting totals of 400, because, you know, I think we've only once not posted 350 plus in our first innings, and that was at Glamorgan, that was at Cardiff. So, you know, for that side, with, you know, that lack of experience, to be able to play that way against good teams and still posting good scores, shows that we're going in the right direction.